Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Bedtime Auto Racing, episode 19. Another one. This is what, 3 in a row to start the year off? Starting off pretty hot.
Yeah, we're on a heater.
Yeah, we're starting off pretty hot. Last week's episode, we had Andrew Grady on. Thanks to Andrew for coming on. That was a great time we had with him, and I know a lot of you guys enjoyed it. So we'll keep doing those. We'll have a guest on most races. After the episode after the race we'll have this weekend is a preview episode for New River Speedway. So we're going to get right into that. New River Speedway, we got the Z-Max Car Store Series presented by Sound Gear, the National Dodge 250, and that's actually the National Dodge Jeep Chrysler Ram. Dodge Ram Jeep, I don't know how they word Chrysler.
Between the race sponsor and the racetrack, it's a mouthful all weekend.
It is. It is the Z-Max Cars Tour presented by Sound Gear, National Dodge Jeep Ram Chrysler 250
at New River.
I got it. At New River All-American Speedway in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Got that out?
Yeah,
got it out good. All right. Mouthful, but yeah, big race at a really cool racetrack. I raced there last year. Got my ass kicked, but it was fun. It was a very, very, very abrasive surface. So this holds true to if you guys watch the Bristol race, it should be kind of similar situation towards the end. You're gonna see some guys that have absolutely dropped anchor because they went too hard early. We've seen that last year. Logan Clark rolled the dice, led the hell out about 40 laps, I think, and then dropped anchor and ended up racing with me at the end. But I should have done that too. Looking back at it, I should have went and led some laps. Because at the end of it, I ended up where I was at anyway. So he was a smart one in the whole situation. So yeah, you'll see a lot of that. You'll see some guys be leading the race, maybe early, that will not even be in the top 10 with 20 to go. So that's always very exciting. I think for most racers that can get frustrating, right? Like we all have got our butts kicked on those events, and we've done good on those events too. I know you typically kind of look out for those races. I, for the most part, do as well. I definitely think it can be a little heavy, but there's more we're going to get into because the tires are different this year, so maybe that'll play a factor, and the racing will be a little bit different. We'll go through some of last year's event, obviously, like we did for Southern National, but and then talk about Brandon's expectations and all that good stuff. So let's hop right into it. Beginning with the entry list. Let's go ahead and go through the entry list. That way we know what driver's going to be in the field this weekend. Starting off with Brendan Queen. Well, we got, 24 on the entry list?
24 cars.
24 cars on the entry list. We got Brendan Queen, Ronnie Bassett Jr., Deaton McCaskill, Grady, Brandon Pierce, McCarty, Quaffle, Buddy Allis Jr., Mason Diaz, Ryan Millington, Logan Clark, McCumbee, Connor Hall, Cade Brown, Cody Dempster, Brent Cruz, Landon Huffman, Bryce Applegate, Isabella Robusto, Landon Lewis, Katie Hedinger, Trayton Lapsevich is not listed on the entry list, but he is racing. We figured that out in the 77. Minnie Tyrell and Josh Kosick in the 95. So that's put a asterisk beside that. Make a note about the driver change in the 95. It seems like here for the car store race this weekend. So you get into that too. That jumped out of the page. So entry list wise, 24 cars. I think that's the same amount of cars we had last year there.
I was about to tell you the same thing. From what I can recall, I think it's got to be all over it.
Yeah, it was exact. A hell of a race last year. Last year, Brendan Queen and Ronnie Bassett had a brawl there at the end. Good little finish. Ronnie gave it kind of a last ditch effort and tried to move Brendan to win the race. Didn't happen. Brendan ended up winning, and I think that was his fourth or fifth win of the year, and that was actually the kickoff to his championship charge that he nearly completed last year. So obviously, Brendan, Butterbean will be an obvious favorite down here at New River, but there's a lot of guys that are really good at saving tires. That's going to be good there this weekend. I mean, not to mention, last year's runner-up, Ronnie Bassett Jr. I think he ended up runner-up. I know somebody almost crossed the line in front of him, or I can't remember who.
Somebody was saying that he ended up third, and
maybe
so I remember Connor Jones being there, so I think he might have.
Maybe it was Connor. Maybe
Connor
snuck by and ended up second last year. I think I remember seeing that.
Or maybe it was Diaz. I don't know.
Right. So Ronnie.
I remember it was a white car.
Yeah, Ronnie also is racing, of course. Deaton McCaskill, legend on saving tires. You got Andrew Grady, who's a local favorite. And then a couple of guys that ran good last year that are also on the entry list that I can see. Chad McCumbee, of course. I think last year he ran pretty good there. Then the year before that, I believe he was leading and had a mechanical failure, which obviously was the beginning of the whole bad luck Chad theme.
Right.
So yeah, last year's race was exciting. There was a lot of lead changes as far as I remember. I mean, obviously Logan led for about 40 laps, which was a surprising deal at the time. But knowing that everybody was really, really saving tires, a lot of the drivers, I guess, weren't really surprised that somebody kind of snuck out and led. But it was weird. Like from my perspective, last year, I was definitely shocked by how much you actually had to save tires. I mean, you've raced there a few times now. Do you feel like it is the most abrasive track on the schedule right now, or what's your opinion?
I would say, yeah. I mean, some may say differently, but I feel like it probably is. Like let's face it, Hicory. I feel like now with some of these places we go to, it used to be characterized as abrasive, and it still is. I mean, I know you can speak on that, but like it's sealed right now. So Hicory's got a lot of grip, fast. They just ran the double pass the Easter Bunny race this past weekend.
Right.
So then as far as abrasive, we just left Kinley. It's abrasive. You've got Langley, but Florence. But I feel like New River definitely, in my opinion, is probably in the number one spot as far as most abrasive. And I think a lot of it too, and I know you can speak on this, with the unique shape of the racetrack, you're not straight for very long.
Mm-hmm.
You are down the back for a very short amount of time, and then but you're quickly getting checked up to turn to the bottom. That's
Right.
the only time you're straight. The front stretch isn't straight. So
Right. Yeah, it definitely feels. I explained it a little bit last week, but it feels like you're racing at a Phoenix or a Concord or something like that, like a triangular shaped racetrack is how the groove works out. I think you carry a pretty low exit off of 4 and then kind of drift up high into 1. So it's a weird, it's odd, which is cool. I'm glad the Car Store actually goes to a unique track. I don't think when they designed that racetrack, that's what they had in mind. I mean, not that it's the product came out bad or anything. I think the racing's great, but like I don't think when you draw on paper a tri-oval, you think it's gonna, like, as a new driver going into that track, never seen it before. First time at Coastal Plains, New River, Goodyear All-American Speedway was a shock to me because I had no idea how it did not drive anything like it looked. That's for sure. So it's an interesting little racetrack. It's cool to watch races at for sure. So it'll be an interesting little weekend. That's for damn sure. But as far as, let's go ahead and talk about those tires, because the tires are a little bit different this year. Hoosiers went to a different compound, and you said last week the ST2 and Andrew had the opinion that they would wear out a little bit quicker, but they wouldn't fall off of a cliff. They would they wouldn't hold their speed for as long as a period of time, but they would they also would not absolutely fall off a cliff. I definitely fell victim to the whole cliff sensation, especially at Goodyear last year, and I think I also felt it at Southern National last year. Was a couple of times that I absolutely wore my tires out completely. That whole falling off a cliff sensation was definitely there. So, I guess just speak on that. Like, what's your opinion? Did you kind of have that same feeling, or was yours a little bit different, or Wayne? What do you expect going into here, New River?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, obviously it's been made kind of public that there was some issues at Southern National already with the ST2 with some bad batch codes. It's my understanding those are going to be removed for this weekend's allotment.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's true or not, I'll be able to shoot you a message, I assume Friday when we get there. But,
right.
From my experience at Southern National, kind of like what Andrew said, they don't necessarily have that raw speed in them right off the bat. I feel like A, and then B, they will kind of drop off a little sooner maybe, but then that drop off, it's like sustainable.
Right.
It's not then like tenths after tenth,
right.
or whatever. It kind of like it'll maybe fall off 2, 3, 4 tenths, but then it'll run that about every lap.
Mm-hmm.
Until I think you flap wear them out, which obviously any of us can do. So I do think that's going to possibly allow us and I know you'll be able to speak on this. I mean, me and you rode together last year, 85 laps.
We rode together for a long time. At about 40 miles an hour.
Yeah, I feel like that pack racing. Like last year, I'm sure as you remember, we were kind of in like 2 groups and sometimes even 3.
Yeah,
I think you may see one big group or like two groups. Half and half, which I think will be good. I think it'll be good for us as drivers. I think it'll be good for the fans. And I also think it's going to make it be like a little bit more of that tic-tac-toe. I know the biggest thing I feel like for me driving and the biggest obstacle for a spotter is calling that late dive bomb right about the start-finish line of a guy who comes off a forward and decides to look like maybe he's going to stay bumper tight with you, but then kind of runs the line of the grass to get inside of you there before you get to one, which always makes it interesting. So, but I think this tire has the opportunity to put on a good race at Goodyear or at New River. But obviously it is still very new. This will only be the second race on it for us, and
we
so,
are. It is the ST2, correct?
Correct.
ST2
it is the
tire.
ST2.
They're on the ST2 tire this weekend, so definitely the most abrasive tire test for the new compound for sure so far, and it's early in the season, so. It'll be interesting to see how that all works out, and then to hear some of the feedback, especially on the recap episode on how these tires actually, stood the test. Last year at Goodyear, we gave them a pretty good rating. We gave them a 7.0, which put them into the category of 7s, which was 8 different racetracks last year. Some of the things that we liked about Goodyear was the raceability and all that, obviously, but the cool part about the facility at New River is they got like a drag strip and all that good stuff around there. And the town. One thing I wanted to touch on before you guys head down there, I'm not going this weekend, of course, but I do want to touch on some of the things that we did last year. Any certain things in that area you like to do, or any restaurants you recommend, or anything like that? Because me personally, I didn't do a whole lot down there last year other than I think we ordered a big old pizza.
Yeah, you had the cool Airbnb with the volleyball court in the backyard.
Yeah, well, volleyball court is, maybe a stretch of how nice it was. It was a volleyball net in the back of just a grass yard back there. It wasn't like we had a volleyball court.
Well, what I'm getting at is you were trying to rope me and a few others to coming in, having some beers and playing spike ball with each other, basically, because that's what that was going to turn into.
Yeah, well, it was going to be fun, but nobody came. I just sat there, I guess. But New River is a nice little racetrack for sure. The area, if you are looking to get a new vape or a new tattoo, or maybe just hit a dive bar or something like that, I'm telling you, there is thousands and thousands of options. So yeah, if you're a vapor or a need a tattoo or anything like that, especially ex-military, you're in the right place. It's very close to a military base, so a lot of that in the area. So it's Jacksonville's an interesting place. I wouldn't say it's full of tourist attractions, but it's close to the beach and it's pretty warm. So if anybody is going down to the race and want to go see the beach and get your toes in the sand or something like that for a little bit and crack you a cold beer, why not? When in Rome, you're close enough. Jacksonville is basically the only beach track we pretty much go to. I mean, it is the only beach track we go to. I guess you could make a case for the short drive from like Wake County or whatever, but like New River's,
Langley, if you go up to Virginia Beach, but that's still like
Langley,
30-ish minutes, but
yeah,
it's definitely the closest.
Yeah, New River's kind of a beach track. Feels beachy, so it's got to be pretty exciting for some of the folks that's never been down there for sure to be heading down and try that track out. I don't have any good like food spots to go to. I think they're going to try to make that a recurring theme on these preview episodes, is kind of give you guys some places that may be cool to try out down there. But I'm pretty sure I just ate like a New York pizza place, and as far as I remember, there are literally 3,000 of them down there. And if you ever need to go to a 24-hour vape shop, there's plenty of 24-hour vape shops down there. So yeah, that too. I don't know why. I don't know who the hell goes to a vape shop at 4 or 5 in the morning, but by all means, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much all I got on the town preview. But yeah, it's a pretty cool area. Not a ton of crazy tourist attractions, but it is nice little place close to the beach. Not a bad spot for a racetrack for sure.
They do have a first watch, so that's big for me.
Okay, yeah, so, first watch, good for breakfast.
Right in front of the hotel, literally.
Yeah. Okay. So, next part of this show, we're going to go into some of last year's stats on this race, and so, well, not necessarily last year, just history at the old New River compound. And it's been through a couple name changes. It's been Coastal Plains, it's been Goodyear, but it is New River All-American Speedway now, and it's been that for a few years now, so we're feeling pretty good about it sticking. The first race by the Cars Tour was ran here in 2022, so this is only the third one ran there. The first one was won by Connor Hall. Last year's, of course, was Butterbean. And this year's, my pick for this year's winner at New River. I'm going Chad McCumbee this week.
I hear you.
Chad McCumbee finally gets the monkey off his back this week. I think he's always been pretty good at New River. I mean, at least the first year he had problems leading, and then last year, as far as I remember, he was up towards the front. So Chad McCumbee will probably be pretty damn solid. So he's going to be my pick to win it. My dark horse pick, same as last week. I'm going Trayton Lapsevich because Chad Bryant Racing won there in 2022 with the 77 car, and he had a pretty good run. Had a little dust up with Andrew at Southern National, but showed pretty good speed before then, and even rebounded for a good finish afterwards. So I'm going to go with Lapsevich for the win, for the dark horse pick for the win. So I could see him running pretty good, and that would be a rookie winning. So that would be pretty crazy. That would definitely be, and a new winner, obviously. So that would break my prediction of no new winners until after Wilkesboro, obviously. But, would be, I could definitely see it happening. Obviously, a good car there. So going into some of these past stats of this racetrack, I mean, there's not a lot of crazy stats since there's only been 2 races there, obviously. But qualifying record was in 2022, 1581. You think that gets beat this year or not? I mean, I guess that's hard to kind of guess right now.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be cooler.
Yeah, typically
than it has been those either two.
Yeah, should be.
I didn't think that the pole at Southern National would be a 30. That was about at least a tenth and a half, and I'll be even more honest to say 2/10 than what I thought it was going to be. So, I mean, I think we'll probably be qualifying on Sunday. We'll get into that a little later.
Okay.
But I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I'm going to say it's going to be close, but I'm going to say no. You said an 81, right?
Yep.
I think it might be something in the 80s, but I do not think it gets beat.
That's getting it around there. That is it's a very unique shaped racetrack. Again, I know we've kind of harped on that this whole episode so far, but it is very weird. Even exiting 2 is odd, even though it's very standard back there. It's a wide, it takes a while to get used to. So any track that has a little bit of character to it, it's always fun to watch a race at. Even though it's kind of early in its Cars Tour history, that doesn't mean it hasn't put on some good races. I mean, the first race ever there was actually the closest finish, which last year's race I thought was close as shit. It was a crazy finish. So the 2022 race, the margin of victory was only 0.28. So I don't even know what last year's was, but it was close too. So
right.
So a lot, not less than like half a second in total combined margin of victory between the 2 races so far here. So I think that speaks for itself. People are going to save tires, and it's going to really show towards the end of the race who the movers are. I think it's cool because you can see it happening throughout the whole race. And usually these tire saving races, when things are pretty controlled and not a lot of cautions and not a lot of like high octane racing going on early, it gives Flo a chance to kind of go through the field and see some of the other guys that are racing their way up through there. And you might see a surprise leader. You might see they might be able to pick up on some strategy. So it's always cool whenever the broadcast is able to sync up with like a late model driver strategy, because obviously, it's not as easy as it is in NASCAR to pick up what we're doing. So Hopefully we'll get to see some of that this weekend. Obviously, there's a lot of strategy involved, so I urge you guys that aren't that entwined in it, maybe pay attention a little bit closer to the mid pack. Somewhere between lap, 125 lapper, I'm guessing.
Correct.
So, yeah, you'll see some guys around 15th take the hell off around lap 75, and those guys are who you should place some bets on. You might see some guys hang out around 5th. Sometime like Butterbean, I think he didn't drop back really until like 30 or 40 to go, it seemed like, and then all of a sudden he went. So like there's always some pretty interesting strategies. A lot of times guys are just going off of the feel of everybody else. If they think everybody's going too hard, then they back down and let some guys go. And I've seen a lot of that the first year with Connor and last year with Butterbean. So yeah, we'll see. I think both years the winner has been the pole sitter. Did Butterbean get the pole last year?
Butterbean did get the pole last year.
Okay, so that does mean that both years the winner has been on the pole. So that's an interesting fact too. So qualifying may be more important than you think on a worn-out racetrack, or that just might mean that the fastest car is just the easiest one to save tires on. So, to each your own. But anyways, that's enough on the actual racetrack itself. Let's move on into to some of your race expectations and goals. You had a pretty solid, a couple torn fenders and stuff like that for the first race, but no bad stuff. So how you feeling about this one?
Yeah, I mean, I told you on the Southern National preview that my goal, obviously, first car show race with Carroll Speed Shop was to go in there, run all the laps, which we did. Hopefully have a top 10 run, which I strongly feel like we were going to. We were well on our way to that when we got turned around with about 35 to go or so. And that's when my third thing was not tearing anything up. Like you said, luckily nothing, suspension wise or anything like that. Just some decals and some fenders and stuff, and a new tail and a new nose on the old girl. But so really for me, man, that track has been, as you spoke on, the tours only went there twice. I've went there both times. It's cost me a front and a rear clip, and then last year we just didn't run very good. So, so hopefully not going to have either one of those. I would be happy to go in there, again, our second race together on the tour with Carroll Speed Shop. And I think for us, the realistic expectations, go in there, have a top 10 run. Even though it's only 24 cars this weekend, it's still 24 really good cars. So that's 23, really good cars to have to try to beat. So I think go in there and have a top 10 run and run all laps, car in one piece would be something, for us to build off of, just like we're on our way to do at Kinley. And, we still drove from 26th to 16th, the last 30 laps torn up at Kinley. And so that was a positive as well. So that's my expectations. And, that place, as you know, is tough. So just going to try to finally go in there and somewhat conquer it, hopefully.
So top 10, gonna get you top 10, feel good about it. That way you can, carry that momentum into the next one. So top 10 is Brandon's goals for the race. That race starts at 8:30. Green flag is what time the rag drops. That is on Flow, of course, and tickets are $25 if you plan on vacationing down there. And you probably catch a drag race or two. I'm not sure if they are racing in March or not, but when I was there September?
Something like that, yeah.
When we was there in September, they was getting the hell after it from about 9 a.m. until 11 p.m. Drag racing all damn day, making passes. Not even sure if it was a race or they just out there making passes, but it was pretty badass. So $25, well worth it, because you can probably turn your head and see a damn 1979 Shelby fucking getting it. There's my cuss word for the day. Saturday, 80% chance of rain. Brandon, how do you feel about that part? The weather not cooperating real well with us right now.
No,
I'm getting a little bit pissed off about it. I'm not gonna lie. I was feeling kind of good. I was feeling vibey with this spring stuff. I was getting, things are changing. I'm trying to drinking a couple more beers in the afternoon now, just because it's a little bit warmer. But this weather thing's pissing me off. What do you got to say about it?
I mean, I echo that, buddy. I think old Groundhog, he must have been wrong, because this is like 2022 all over again, at least on the racing side of things, where we started off the year and kind of dealt with weather quite a few weekends. So I know how you feel about Sunday racing. I feel like this isn't me, dropping a big news bomb or anything. The tour hasn't commented anything yet. I personally hope we run Sunday, just because with that one being a little bit further away, obviously if you're running it, you've already planned to be there that weekend.
Right.
And I just feel like that's easier than, say, if you've got family or another trip or something else planned this year, maybe even another race.
Well, it's not a guaranteed washout yet. It is 80%, but it drops to like 30 and 40 at like 4 p.m. So there is a shot. It just crazier things have happened on the coast. I think we said that last week, and it still douched. So, I don't know if that – maybe crazy things don't happen on the coast. Maybe that's a total bullshit lie.
If I had to put in my FanDuel North Carolina bet right now, I would say we're racing Sunday.
Really?
But luckily, I don't have to do that.
Yeah, I mean, whatever they got to do. Hopefully the weather subsides. But regardless, tickets will be $25. I'm sure if you go on Saturday and it rains out, you can take them and go Sunday too.
Yep.
Green flag's 8:30. Don't forget. Got a little bit of rain coming. May clear in the evening. I put that in parentheses here in my notes just to make sure you guys know it might clear up. I don't know if that's true or not, but it might. Yeah, so hopefully within this year, how many rainouts did we have last year total? Do you remember? Or not rainouts?
Well, the only one that got moved was the 30K race.
I should have said
how many weekends we dealt with rain.
Yeah, I should have
I'm going to say 5 or 6. I mean, we did it Kinley.
I feel like it might have been more than that. But yeah. I feel like the first 3 or 4 we definitely dealt with it.
We did at Hicory. That was a whole weekend-long event.
Which,
for the throwback race.
For a while, it felt like every time I raced, because 2022, every time I raced, it rained, and then I joined the car store, and every time I went to a car store race, it rained. So,
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe since I ain't going to be there this weekend, you'll be all right. But, hopefully the rain subsides, but fingers crossed. Okay, so on the entry list, 95 car, your teammate, changed names. What happened?
Yep.
JT Hefner, he's raced for a while in the car store.
Yep. So really all I have for everybody is Jacob Hefner is no longer driving for Carroll Speed Shop. And Josh Kosick is getting an opportunity to step into the 95 this weekend and get his first career car store start. He's also an employee for us. So happy for him and excited to get to New River and try to help him out in any way I can, which I've already stressed to him it's not going to be a whole lot because I've only raced there twice. But,
yeah.
A little bit I think will be more than none. So, like I said, just, unfortunate, but that's really all there is to it. Jacob won't be with us any longer. And Josh is getting an opportunity to step into the 95 this weekend at New River and go give it a shot.
Is Josh, what is his, he's an employee of Carroll Speed Shop. What is his employment entail of?
He's basically Justin's right-hand man. I mean, he's there every day, and he obviously I've known of him back in his Hicory days, when he was running for track championship there. But he's actually really good help, really smart. Obviously he's been under Justin's wing, and so been able to learn a lot. But he's a hard worker, and he cares a lot, and that's hard to find these days. So especially for his age. I was pretty happy for him, like I said, to when Justin gave me the call, let me know that's who we were going to put in it. And I think he's deserving of the opportunity, minus everybody's memes last year of his Martinsville antics.
I
think everybody gets a little antsy in those. I've been guilty of it. So that I can say that's been his only direction this week is that he's not going to drive like that.
Okay. Well, that's good, I guess. But sometimes when you're at Martinsville, you got to get after it. You got to make the
That's
show.
right, yeah.
But, one time he wrecked the hell out of me, though.
Did he?
Yeah. He was like, I don't know, he was probably 14, 15, I guess. And I don't really remember fully. But it was, I guess it was 2018 or 2018, and I was running limiteds, and I guess had to be towards the end of the race, but it was a restart, and it was definitely year one for him, and he was, he's maybe 5'4" now. He was like 5'1" then, so he was even shorter. It was crazy. But he was also like 12, or no, maybe 15, 14, I don't know. Anyways, we did a restart, and I think I'm running third or fourth. I don't remember. Something happened. Anyways, he drove in there and damn, I don't know if he never lifted or really what happened, but I had a valid reason for being mad. I just don't remember what it was. So I'm still pissed off about it.
You might dive back into the archives tonight and send me a video.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, at one point I addressed it with him because we was iRacing together. I said, "Hey man, you got the same name as the little sumbitch that wrecked me one time." He said, "Yep, that's me."
At least he owned it.
Yeah, I'm like, all right. I'm like, why'd you wreck me? I didn't wreck you. Honestly, I don't fully remember exactly what all happened in that wreck, but it was I don't, it was either he drove in too far. It was on a restart, so honestly, it was probably a stack up, and I ended up being in his way because he wasn't going to stop for a fucking wreck. Race 3 of your career at Hicory, I ain't stopping. Hell no. So yeah, that was my meeting with him, but he's obviously progressed quite a bit. Hicory track champion since then, so got to know him pretty well. Excited for him to be in the car, and that'll be interesting. And obviously, the guy will send it if he needs to.
Yes, he will.
So that's always good to know that you got a full-on sender in a car. I mean, like, it pissed some people off at Martinsville last year, but at least he's going to do something. If
right.
You got to have a little bit of character in there, right? So it's all right.
Oh yeah.
Everybody wants to say, you can say some stuff and say, "Oh, god damn, we're putting somebody in there. That guy couldn't even damn." I don't know if anybody's saying this, but what I am making up in my head that someone would say would be,
Blake called him out today on Facebook. So
which one?
Blake Harris.
Oh, okay. Well, Blake's the shit talker. So Blake is the hater. Blake is the critic I'm talking about. So basically what Blake Harris said, this is an actual quote from, Blake said Josh sucked. And I was like, you shouldn't say that. He's got a chance. He's going to at least he's going to at least turn some heads because he made some cool shit happen at Martinsville last year. Just kidding. Blake didn't say that. But yeah. Cool deal. Obviously interesting and unfortunate situation from the outside looking in. I know obviously you're involved in the team, but as a fan, I'm interested in seeing what becomes of it because Jacob Hefner's a good driver and he's obviously ran good for a few years, so that's somebody who knows what comes of this. Obviously, any drama in the car store is always interesting for me to see. So yeah, right. I'm who knows what comes of it. But so Josh Kosick in the 95 this weekend. Another little interesting tidbit that we talked about was Butterbean's never lost at Goodyear or New River.
Correct.
The man's he's went down there 2 times, and both times he walked away with, well, the first time he walked away with about, it's like 10, 20 grand or something, wasn't it? Pay like 20 grand to win. Next time car store race 20, paid, let's see, it paid 7 grand to win last year. So yeah, guys made 27 grand in 2 starts.
Pretty good odds.
Pretty good average. Last year I've won $1,100 there. No big deal. Brandon, you have made, where are you at? You've made $2,800 there. So, got a little money in the bank here.
And a interesting
and a couple clips.
I was gonna say, it's Bobby McCarty said the greatest interview of all time. So.
That was a good one. That's something we haven't played on Big Time Auto Racing. That one day we need to do like an episode when we run out of shit to talk about. We'll have to bring up the most pissed off BP moment of all time, which is
I was on a heater. I let Jack McNally have it, and it was all on video. And then I gave my quotes.
I did not know, honestly. I don't think I had ever seen that until I watched the race from the 2022 race last year when I was like preparing, and I was like, damn, he was mad as shit. But it was funny. Yeah. It was like I don't guess I watched it live, because if I'd have watched that live, I would have definitely been like, that was fucking, or maybe I did, but I just didn't remember it being that funny. Maybe at the time I was mad for you, so I didn't find it funny. But when I went back and watched it, I was like, I thought it was funny as shit. It was pretty good. But yeah, he's pretty pissed off. But hopefully this time you're damn, excited and pouring beer all over your head or something. That'd be nice.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Yeah.
So New River, what are we doing? Staying in a hotel this time? Got any big plans, dinner wise, anything like that?
Yeah. Well, obviously we'll go out with all the guys, and the wife and dad will go out. There's been some slight rumblings that if it does decide to precipitate and postpone things on Saturday to Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
again, all this is speculating, but we might get a wild hair and travel a little south to Pleasure Island, also known as Carolina Beach.
Oh,
So
are we down?
I may or may not be seen in the Fat Pelican sometime around beer 30 on Saturday. That is TBD.
That'd be nice. I could definitely do a Fat Pelican trip for sure.
Oh, and there's probably pretty good odds if I'm there that I jaywalk at a 45 right to the Shuck and Shack.
Yeah, god dang. I could really use some Shuck and Shack. We're going to have to get back down there pretty quick.
Yeah,
one of the greatest places on earth.
I knew you would get a kick out of that. So, like I said, if it stays course of what it looks like it's going to do, there's going to be a Carol Speed Shop invasion of Carolina Beach for a couple hours on Saturday.
That'd be that could be bad for the program on Sunday. So we'll just we might want to hold your bets on any Carol Speed Shop bets until we figure out if it rains out or not, guys. Just want to put that out there. And one other thing I kind of put in here that I wanted to talk about was putting together like a chassis rundown deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of week in and week out, sort of separating some of the. And I'm talking about this on the fly, guys. You guys are hearing this first. I haven't spoke to Brandon about it yet, but I'd like to keep up with the stats on what chassis is winning races. As simple as that, really. And then what chassis are, I guess we need to kind of list out what drivers are running which chassis to start off with. That'd be a great, we got to save some of this content for these filler episodes. There's going to be times where we don't have a whole lot of shit going on, so we can't do it all at once. But
right.
But yeah, so I'd like to get together some kind of chassis rundown that kind of covers all the main chassis manufacturers and their wins and top tens and struggles will be also pointed out. I think would be cool. I mean, no shade towards anyone, but there might be some tracks that certain chassis manufacturers don't run good at, and certain tracks that they run great at, which will help our analysis on the next race or whatever. Not that it really matters, but it might help somebody's decision in purchasing their next race car. And we like seeing people purchasing race cars because we like race cars and we need other people to buy them to be able to race against them. So, there's a lot of them out there between R&S, Hedgecock, Reynolds, PRW. There's several more among the car store. That's kind of the four horsemen as far as the big names. Obviously there's 3 or 4 others that are very prominent within, the North, South Carolina region. And then obviously even, there's a couple like solo privateer chassis companies, even I think in the car store that have one car running. A couple of them that I can think of. So that's obviously something that I want to start keeping track of and see, who's running the best. Is it R&S? Is it Hedgecock? Is it Reynolds? Is it PRW? Like we always have those. All late model guys want to have those conversations.
Yeah, got to give a shout out while we're on this topic. AH race cars.
Yep.
Got a top 5 at Kinley with Chase.
That's right.
One of those other. So like you said, I think it's gonna be very interesting. Something that Dylon spoke to me about a little before we came on here to talk to you guys. So I think it's gonna be just some good content and something interesting.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we just kind of glazed over that last week. Chase Burrow top 5 to start the year off, and
missing the whole right side of the car.
And I think I kind of called that shot a little bit a few weeks before that. I was like, man, they can win races. They can run good. He runs good at some tracks, just not all tracks. And that might change this year that he's got some more experience. Year 3, started off with top 5. He's sneaky, definitely sneaky. Chase Burrow is sneaky this year, and also even submitting a chassis company in this conversation as well with the A&H chassis. So, obviously, A lot of cool stories. That's why I want to start keeping track of some chassis information, because it's big talk in late model racing. That's always the deal. You know, who do you buy from? And each track's different, right? Some tracks favors the way that Hedgecock builds his cars. Some track favors the way Reynolds builds his cars. Some guys want longevity. Some guys want durability. Some guys want to spend $800,000 this year and buy whatever he can. That way he can expand his kid to the truck series in 6 months.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's different levels to everything as far as, so, you know what I mean? Like, it's a weird market because there's a lot of different consumers, right? There's people that are very broke that are buying very nice race cars. There's people that are very rich that are buying very nice race cars. You know what I mean? That's what's cool. There's not a lot of markets where you see a guy that literally will like bet his life on buying a chassis or something like that just to go racing.
Absolutely.
It still happens. It still happens that
every day.
Hicory and all that. God, people don't even have a damn Twitter account. He just wants to go race on a weekend, and it pays $650 to win. And you know, so that's why it's so interesting. I want to keep track of this stuff because for some reason we're obsessed with it, and everybody wants to have the best stuff. They want to be able to kick other people's asses, and a lot of times that starts with a chassis.
Absolutely.
And I learned last year that you have to pair that with a motor. Don't forget the motor part, everyone. That's a very important ingredient in the tour for sure. But yeah, I want to, you know, I don't know how this list will look. I'll try to come up with some ideas. If you guys have any suggestions, please let us know. But if that seems interesting to you, and it's worth our effort, I feel like there's got to be something. Not many people do it because someone has an affiliation with everybody has an affiliation with some kind of chassis company. It seems like I don't really. I mean, I don't have anything. I don't have any affiliation or necessarily anything against any chassis company. My car now, I run as a PRW, but that, you know, we bought the car as a consumer, so I could buy another chassis as a consumer. I want to present it. I want to present it as a consumer because I've never got that intel. When you get intel from someone about a chassis, it's always like, hey, you got to buy a Hedgecock or you don't run worth a shit, dude. Or, hey, you got to buy Reynolds. That's what everybody's got now. Damn, Martin's, hey, Trevor Ward got a Reynolds. Got to buy a Reynolds. Or, you know, like, so that's what you get all the time. So hopefully we can have one that's a little bit less muddied. The water's a little muddy in the whole chassis selection surface. I don't know how this is done. I'm trying to figuring it out on the fly, but maybe just something that's just kind of an honest list. Like, hey, these, and again, this is car store based, not necessarily weekly based. So it may vary, but as far as how the car store chassis companies compare to one another, we're going to try to put some kind of list together, which would be kind of cool. But yeah, so closing out, we're going to have us
another interesting thing to touch on, just because like we say, you know, we love talking about racing. How about talking about previewing New River, just previewing racing in general this week? Bubba Pollard is going to try his fate at the trifecta this weekend at Pensacola.
Damn, what all is he running?
So there's the ASA race, Super Race, the ARCA race, and then like
he's running the
somebody's going to. Yeah, somebody don't jump down my throat, but it's like maybe a mini stock or a street stock or something.
Yeah, I guess he's just trying to switch up disciplines. That way he's ready to hop in an Xfinity car.
And if it isn't a mini stock or a street stock, I apologize, but I know it's a fendered car. How about that?
Yeah. Speaking of switching up disciplines, we've been trying our hand at some dirt iRacing lately. Things have been going. We know we're on the up and up. We're trying to learn our hand slowly but surely. I'm becoming a dirt racer on iRacing. I've done a couple micro sprint races now. No big deal. Finished third and second. I think it was the rookie series. Pretty sure the strength of field was about 1,300. So, yeah. I mean, nothing crazy, but slight work. I'm gonna try to get my first win tonight. Me and Brandon. We're starting to, eventually we're going to have us a lead where we're just racing like hell on a random night of week, some kind of big time auto racing lead. We'll put it together one day Brandon's still FaceTiming me when we're iRacing. So
Yeah, we're working on it.
We got to talk him into just getting some stuff so we can race a little more efficiently, but it is fun. Anyways, guys, closing out. Appreciate you guys listening. I mean, obviously, New River this weekend is at 8:30. Green flag. Green flag 8:30. The broadcast probably starts a little ahead of that, but the did you hear that? Damn, just knocked the hell out of my mic. Sorry if I just blew up anybody's speakers in your car. But before we close out, be sure to rate, like, subscribe, all that good stuff on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, all that. It always helps us out and jumps us up the list a little bit and helps us get seen. So check us out. We will be back on Wednesday for the New River recap, and we'll be talking with someone from that race. I don't know who yet, but we'll come up with that, and you guys will find out on Wednesday. But have a good Wednesday today, and then have a good weekend. Go watch some racing, and cheer on the Cars Tour. Cheer on Brandon. Go Brandon. Don't give her hell this weekend, bud.
We're definitely, as you know, I'll be back there minding my own business. But whether I finish first or 10th or 21st, we'll run the tires off of it at the end for sure.
Yeah, well, you guys know the deal. No matter what. Beers after. We'll be seeing you guys later. Peace out.